Right now, while you sleep, something is happening in your yard. The cardinal that visited your feeder this afternoon, the bright red one, is out there somewhere in the dark. Still, feathers puffed, heart rate dropping to a rhythm that would alarm any doctor watching it. And he is doing this on purpose, not out of weakness, not from exhaustion in the way you and I understand it. He is running a survival program so precise, so ancient, that scientists are still working to fully understand it. You've watched birds your whole life, fed them, worried about them in winter, but you have never seen this. Most people assume birds just go to sleep, find a branch, close their eyes, wake up. A bird resting is a bird doing nothing. But the truth is almost the opposite. What your birds do between dusk and dawn involves three things most people have never heard of. First, selective brain shutdown. One half of the eye brain goes dark while the other stays alert. Second, a heart rate that slows to a near-death rhythm. Third, something called nocturnal hypothermia, a deliberate drop in body temperature that keeps small birds from burning through their fuel before morning. They are not helpless out there. They are not simply unconscious. They are executing a survival system refined over 150 million years. Every night, right outside your door, welcome to Still Wild. Every week, we go into the hidden world happening just outside your window. The science, the stories, the quiet things most people walk right past. If that makes you want to look twice at your own backyard, you're in the right place. Start with the cold, because the cold is everything. A black-capped chickadee weighs about as much as 5 pennies stacked together. It carries almost no body fat. On a night that drops into the 20s, it must maintain a core temperature near 104 degrees Fahrenheit. That's small heart, burning fuel, all night, just to reach morning. And here's where the biology gets strange. They cheat, not dishonestly, ingeniously. Before sleep, a chickadee voluntarily lowers its own body temperature by roughly 10 degrees. Scientists call this nocturnal hypothermia. Research from Cornell Lab of Ornithology and the University of Wisconsin suggests this controlled cooldown can reduce the overnight caloric burn by up to around 20%. That margin, that 1/5 of a night's energy budget, is the difference between waking up and not waking up. But the bird doesn't just cool down and hope for the best. Something in that small brain keeps watch. The moment temperature drops too far, a threshold is crossed. The body warms itself, just enough, then releases into the cold again, a living thermostat. In a creature you could hold in one hand. It is one of the more efficient heat management systems researchers have observed in warm-blooded animals this small. And your yard is full of birds running it. Now, the brain. This is where it gets genuinely strange. Many birds sleep with only half their brain at a time. The term is unihemispheric slow-wave sleep. It was documented in mallard ducks in a 1999 study published in Nature. Researchers found that ducks on the outer edge of a sleeping group kept one eye open, connected to the still alert half of the brain, watching for anything that moved. Ducks in the center of the group, protected by others, slept with both eyes closed. They were not just sleeping. They were choosing how deeply to sleep based on how exposed they were. One half dreaming, one half watching the dark. Songbirds do something similar. Many perching birds cycle through what researchers call vigilant sleep, short bursts of deeper rest broken by micro-waking moments. A house sparrow may pass through these cycles dozens of times before dawn. Some part of them is always listening, and what wakes them is specific. Studies suggest songbirds are tuned to the acoustic patterns of their particular predators, the low wing beat frequency of a hunting owl, certain movements in brush, sounds a human would sleep clean through. The dark is full of information. They read all of it. Here is what I didn't expect when I went deep into this research. At some point it stops being just biology. In cold winters, chickadees sometimes roost together, several birds pressed into a single cavity or dense brush cluster, warmth shared. The cost of surviving the night split among them. Studies on communal roosting in small birds suggest that huddling together can meaningfully reduce overnight heat loss, potentially by 25 to 30% compared to roosting alone. But here's the part that catches you off guard. During the day, chickadees have rigid social hierarchies: dominant birds, subordinate birds, competition for food, for position, for space. At night, in the roost, those rankings dissolve. The bird at the top of the pecking order and the bird at the bottom press together against the cold, equal, together. Something about the simplicity of that is hard to shake. And then there is memory. Before last light, a chickadee makes a final pass of its territory, checking cached food, a seed tucked under bark, a sweet scrap in a crevice. Research from the University of Alberta found that chickadees show seasonal growth in the hippocampus, the brain's memory center, during fall and winter. Their brains change shape to hold more maps, more locations, more hidden meals, more chances. Every night as that bird settles into sleep, it carries those maps inside it, all the small hidden things, every place it puts something safe. Somewhere in here, if you sit with it long enough, the science stops being just science. Think about what this small bird does. It halves its own brain to stay watchful. It cools its own body to conserve what it has. It remembers where it hid every small thing. And when the dark gets cold enough, it presses close to the others, even the ones it competed with all day. At some level, a chickadee in winter is a story about how to get through something. Stay watchful, but rest when you can. Conserve what matters. Remember where you put the things you'll need. And when it gets hard enough, get close to the people around you. Share the warmth. The bird isn't conscious of any of this. I'm not giving it meaning it doesn't carry. But meaning has a way of arriving on its own. There's something that happens every January in the northern states. The days grow longer again. By minutes, nothing you would notice. But the birds notice. Something in the endocrine system, triggered by those small shifts in light, begins to change. A hormonal signal moves through, and something dormant starts to stir. Song before the last frost. Before any real reason to believe in spring, the birds begin to sing again. They know something we forget every winter. The dark has already started losing. Tonight, when the feeders go quiet and the yard goes dark, think about what's out there. The cardinal has found his spot, probably deep in the juniper, feathers pulled in tight, breathing slow, heart steady and low. One part of his mind still listening. To the wind, to the cold, to whatever moves through the dark, he'll be there all night, not waiting for morning. Earning it, and before you're awake, before the coffee, before the noise, he'll be back. On your fence post, or the branch outside your kitchen window, bright red, completely present, like the night never happened. But it did. And he moved through it like he was built for exactly this, because he was. Because everything you just learned has been running, in that small body for longer than our species has existed. You're not just feeding birds when you fill that feeder, you're keeping company with something ancient.